India belongs to the BRIC states and is one of the fastest growing economies or emerging states. Can you think of like an example or a scene where you noticed for yourself, oh, India has really changed, apart from the numbers, but just on a social, personal level?
I think there's new affluence in major cities in New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. You see a very wealthy class. And very wealthy malls have come up in the sense that even I can afford to shop there. These are boutique stores, and whatever they offer is for the rich, basically. Not for middle class. This is a new India. That we didn't see 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. This is a change of very recent years, and I think this is a change. Whether it's good change, that's a difficult question. Depends on from which economic strata you are.
How has the perception of the Indian government towards or vis-à-vis the European Union changed since they became strategic partners in 2004?
India is a very special Asian country. Its values are more European than Asian. We have very little in common with the homogeneous societies of East Asia, like China, Korea, and Japan. India is a country which celebrates diversity. It's culturally very diverse, ethnically very diverse. It's like the European Union put together as one country. But historically, India has looked west more than east towards East Asia. So if you look at the worldview and the value system in Europe and the equivalent in India, there's a lot of commonality. For example, even German grammar and Sanskrit grammar are similar. Now, we don't know, I don't know how the similarity happened, but there's a similarity even in our worldview, even in our sense of humor,
Can you see how since 2004 there has been a change towards the European Union?
European Union is pretty, has a very positive image in India. It is seen by Indians as a very valuable element in creating a multipolar world, and the Indians are very much interested to see a multipolar world. And a lot of the European positions on issues like human rights, environment, etc., appeal to Indians. So Indians can actually relate to European Union much better than they can relate to another institution. For example, with the United States, India has a very close relationship now, militarily and economically, but we often disagree with Americans. With Europeans, we don't disagree too often. We have a lot more in common with the European Union. So in that sense, the European Union has a positive rating in India, but it doesn't have the same profile as the United States, because the United States dominates the debate in India. The European Union is less visible, but the good thing is that when the discussion comes up on the European Union, the discussion is always positive.
But what could the European Union change to become more visible in the daily debates in India?
If the European Union were to have a common policy on India, which it doesn't have a common foreign and defense policy, which is only in the books. But India has good relationships with Germany, with France, with Britain, with Italy, with the major powers. But the European Union, as an entity, doesn't have a common approach towards India, and is seen in India as being rather too respectful towards China. For example, on issues like Tibet and Dalai Lama, the European Union is very careful not to do anything that would raise Beijing's hackles, while the Indians would like to see the European Union promoting freedom in the world, not just in Europe but elsewhere in the world.
With India as a growing economic and emerging state, which responsibilities go alongside with this?
Increasingly, as India becomes an important international player, it has to have positions that are consistent. Consistency is never a virtue in the foreign policy of the great powers, But from a moral standpoint, Indian foreign policy makers are under pressure to have more consistent positions. For example, take the case of Syria. On Syria, India voted in favor of the last UN resolution condemning the Assad regime. Now, that was a change from Indian position, because India's consistent position has been that regimes should be changed through domestic, events and developments, not by foreign-inspired movements. And the Assad regime has come under onslaught from Saudi and Qatari funneling of arms to Turkey-based rebels. So that was a change in India's position, which evoked a debate in India as to how do you basically evolve a consistent position, which today you're applying to Syria. Tomorrow you might be forced to apply the same position elsewhere.
Do you think this is a good change?
Well, it's a geopolitical question which is being driven by geopolitics, and I don't see morality in the Indian position on this issue, because I think the Indians wanted to be on the same side as the U.S. on Syria, but I think a more objective assessment of the Syrian situation would have made India stay neutral rather than vote in favor of the resolution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chellaney.